We make real what we pay attention to. So what do we want to be? What state of being do we want to release? We have all states of being with us here right now. All of them exist right now. They're not off somewhere. They're not in the future. They're not in the past. Because those don't even exist. What state of being do we want to be? And really, out of all the things in this world, all the accumulation, all the things that we are trying to get, all the things that we ever wanted, and the only reason we do anything is for a state of being. The reason why we go on vacations is for a state of being. The reason why we want a good career is because of a state of being. We want to feel comfortable. We want to feel safe. We want to go on a vacation to experience joy. But what about getting those states of being first?
It's like thinking in reverse of what we've been taught.
Instead of relying on the structure that is broken and full of fear and doubt to get us there, we have the full power to get ourselves to a state of being right here in this moment. Because it all exists right here, right now.
Hi everybody, this is Malani, welcoming you to Malani Meditation Podcast. Please sit back, grab a cup of tea, and enjoy the show.
I guess my first question is, it's not really a question, it's more of an observation. Most people really don't resonate with the heart.
Well, they do resonate with the heart.
They do, but
It's just not as popular to them as probably the third eye, right?
yeah, third eye or the pineal gland or the crown. Most of the time when I speak about the heart, people really don't get it on a deep level, I would say, than obviously what we talk about, right?
Right.
So how can we relate it to people in our lives?
Well, this is just it. We wake up in the morning, we look at our phone, and we put ourselves into the mind right away, and then we move throughout our day in the mind, and then we close it by looking at our phone and in the mind. So we're in the mind all the time, so why would anybody be excited about the heart when they're pretty much walking away from it? They're ignoring it. We are ignoring the heart, and why would they be excited about it? Because there's not a lot of excitement going on because it's sitting there kind of dormant. I wouldn't say it's dormant because there's flashes of heart if you have a pet or if you have a person you love and there's a burst of excitement, but it's not doing what it should be doing, not even close. If people would start to bring awareness to it, they would be more than excited about the heart. They would just be life-changing. I mean, is it exciting to sit in a blissful state in equanimity every single day?
Yeah, for sure.
But I know what you're saying. There's a lot of people are wrapped up in the third eye and the pineal gland and the crown. Those are more exciting to them because they're thinking about the clairvoyance and the intuition, and they're thinking about speaking with their spiritual guides. Those are all wonderful things. They are. If you are to play around with those energy centers and your heart is not where it should be, you will see the mystical. But I'll ask you, you've seen the mystical many times, and I've seen the mystical many times. There are points when the mystical is not love and light. You remember that one meditation we did, and we were sitting in all this energy and we just went for it?
Yeah, I do remember. Yeah, it was, we called it the hot dog realm.
The hot dog realm. It was just like a crazy, how would you explain it?
It was almost like a Joker realm in a way.
Yeah. And it took me a minute to figure out, hey, this is not love and light. Once I knew, I said, this reality is not of love and light. I command you to leave, and I only work through love and light. And I remind it whoever comes through, it should be only through love and light, and then that realm left immediately.
Yeah, so let's talk about the third eye and those kind of different dimensions that you can tap into.
They're all beautiful if they're in coherence with the heart. The thing is, a lot of people think they have heart awaken, but we're not even close. We're really not, because this is what the heart looks like when it's open. First of all, it's infinite. It is a state of equanimity. That means all day long, you are in a reality of love and light. You are in a state of bliss. You're not yo-yoing. You're not arguing with people. You're not judging. You're an understanding of your surroundings with love and light at all times. You're in a blissful state all the time. I mean, it's not like here and there. People are having flashes of heart, and there are people that really have beautiful love for each other. But also, most people are in and out of it. It's not a reality, it's experiences of heart. What we're looking for is the reality of heart. That is the foundation. That stabilizes everything else. And without the heart, the third eye and the crown are not stabilized. Everything needs to be stabilized through the heart. That is our foundation. That is our connection to love and light. Love and light comes through the heart. The heart will filter out anything that doesn't belong. But
so it needs to be balanced.
It just needs to be balanced.
Okay. Well, I've been looking at some stuff that comes up on my feed on YouTube every now and then, and I hear a lot of stuff about people having like a Kundalini awakening, but they have a really bad experience from it. Is that kind of what it is, to be unbalanced, and it's not the energy, divine energy is unbalanced in the body? There's
a lot of people that awaken Kundalini on their own and without some kind of a Kundalini master. And they do have problems because it was forced open before they were ready. Kundalini is all-knowing energy, and if it knows how to release itself gradually for whenever you're ready. But we have to do the work. We have to do spiritual practice. We have to do meditation. We have to build our foundation by how we're looking at things. How are we looking at the world? How are we looking at people around us? How are we looking at our situations? Are we doing the actual spiritual practices? Or are we just getting in there and we're just trying to open things up? If we're just getting in there and we're trying to open things up because we're just impatient, then it's a complete imbalance. And people are going to have problems. There's a lot of times people go to seminars and they do these really aggressive meditations and they awaken things. Then they go back to the world and all of a sudden they're just wondering what's wrong. Everything's just like, intense. Most people don't have their heart to balance them out. They feel like they're just really heart connected. They're always having their hands over their heart and just, I just love from here so much. But there's more. There's a lot more. There's so much more. And I know you through the heart work I've done with many people, and you've got to see people release traumas and stuff from the heart. And people that are really good, beautiful, loving people didn't even know how much the heart could open up more. They had no clue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's beautiful to see it when it happens.
I mean, let's talk about some of those.
I witnessed some people have some really deep traumas, and then there's like a full release, and it's a beautiful thing to see. For me, I call them miracles, really, when that happens, when somebody can release their heart. We had an incident once where we did a group healing. There's maybe like 5 of us there. Whatever came in that room was this vibration that was so intense, and it was like almost like we hit the heaven realm almost came into that room when we did that healing.
It was beautiful. It was very blissful. And this has happened a few times now.
Yeah. And everybody was blown away. I was blown away. The gentleman that was to the right of me was blown away. This other girl that's sitting in front of me was blown away because it was so powerful. And they were like, what is this? They were questioning, like, what is this?
yeah, she said, what is this? And the other guys, this is so amazing. I've never felt this ever in my entire life. I said, this is the heart. They're like, this is the heart? And I said, yeah, this is the heart. And these people all thought they had a great heart connection.
Yeah.
And they were just scratching the surface of what heart could be. And even that was scratching the surface. But it was like a heaven realm. And we've had several incidences like that now, where the room would break out in joy and everybody's laughing and all these things are happening because I have everybody doing this heart work.
That in that instance, joy hit the room completely, and the girl that we did the healing on was in complete joy. Like she looked like a little girl, just like giggling she must have giggled for 30 minutes. Remember that?
And then everybody else started laughing.
And then it was contagious. Everybody else started laughing.
But yeah, these are like normal incidences with the heart, and the heart brings in so much excitement. So I know that we wanted to talk about the other chakras, like the crown and third eye, the ones that everybody's really excited about, and we should be excited about them. I'm not trying to get people not excited about them. I'm just trying to lay out the importance of the heart. The heart balances out the other ones. In order to have a strong pineal gland and third eye, you'll have to have a strong foundation. We can't just skip steps. And you know what? There's more in the heart than anybody ever wanted in this entire world. There's more there. Anything that you ever have been seeking is there. You're going to be more than satisfied if you do the hard work. In reality, this is where we're heading. We're going to the Christ consciousness, a higher frequency, and it's a heart frequency. I would say if you get into the heart, you're going to understand your other energy centers a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, the heart, it goes very deep.
It makes a great connection to the third eye when you make heart-mind connection. It's beautiful. It's more beautiful than third eye. Third eye, heart connection is way more beautiful. The heart actually brings in the love and light. You know, if you want to speak to your higher self or your spiritual guides, then you want to make that heart-mind connection.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So, can you talk a little bit about when you're doing heart work? Sometimes stuff comes up, right?
Oh yeah, I mean the heart is been ignored for so long, so it's it kind of collects a lot of trauma, and we don't realize how much we're holding in there until you realize it now because you've seen Malani pull stuff out of it, and a lot of people, and it's a lot of purging, it's a lot of crying, there's a lot of primal screaming.
Yeah,
it's just layers and layers of stuff in the heart, and it's like an onion. Once Malani actually breaks through it, it's just this huge release. And that doesn't mean that it's finished. The work isn't finished there because there's a lot more to do. That's when I always ask people to constantly start to pay attention to the heart, because do these little exercises, and I gave those in the last 2 podcasts, but you can go back and listen to those. But those are very important. Yeah, so stuff is going to come up because stuff is stored. But it's stored all throughout the body. Vibration is stored throughout the body. We've been like a closet storing up a bunch of negative vibration. And it's time to clean it out. It's time to start taking the boxes to the dumpster so that the light can shine. Right now, the light doesn't get all the way through. There's all this debris in there. Just like a cluttered closet. The thing is, we don't need to understand what's coming out. We just need to let it go. Because if we label what's coming out, then we hold it. Like if you are going to go clean out a cluttered closet and you grab a box in there, it's just full of dust. If you just took that box to the dumpster and just dropped it off, you wouldn't have an attachment to it. But once you open a lid and start looking through things, then you're like, oh, I forgot about this. And then I don't know if I can let go of this. But you haven't thought about it in so long, there's dust on it. And you also been feeling it because it's taking up your closet space, and every time you walk by that closet, you're just like, don't even want to look in there because it's so full of stuff. So cleaning out the vibrations of the body is kind of like that. When they start to come up, we don't need to look at them. We've looked at them long enough. We stored them long enough. They've done their purpose. It's time to let them go. But you're gonna feel it as it comes out. You know.
It's important not to label it.
Huh?
It's important
not to label it. A lot of people say we have to go back on our trauma and face it and just really observe it. And that's old school way of looking at things. It's old reality. That's old dimensional ways of looking at things. In actuality, we want to focus on the light until that's all there is. You could actually just take everything, all your attention, and place it right there on the heart, 24/7, that connection to the divine. You would be clean now so quickly. If you actually paid attention to the divine or love and light for 24 hours straight, you would clean out that body within 24 hours. You would had such a one focused attention. You wouldn't be, if you didn't pay attention to anything that's coming up, you just paid attention directly and fully for 24 hours. You would clean all that junk out. But it's incredibly hard to do. So how much can we pay attention to the higher vibrations so that the lower vibrations will leave? It's about how much practice we can do. It's not about going back and observing negative vibration, because we make real what we pay attention to. So if we're going to go back and pay attention to negative vibration, we're going to bring awareness to it, and there comes more then, because we're paying attention to it. We make real what we pay attention to. So what do we want to be? What state of being do we want to release? We have all states of being with us here right now. All of them exist right now. They're not off somewhere. They're not in the future. They're not in the past. Because those don't even exist. What state of being do we want to be?
I would say joy and happiness.
Then pay attention to joy. How long can you pay attention to joy? Write joy on your heart. If you can't find a thought of joy to bring joy forth, then just start writing it on your heart. In your mind's eye, just write it. It's going to be like those glasses of water where that scientist wrote the name on the water and the water changed to like the crystals, to snowflakes. He wrote love, he wrote joy, and all these things, because the intent of writing love on the water put the energy of love in the water. So it would do the same thing. If you can't find a moment of joy, you can't bring one forth just to bring joy forth, because all you're really trying to do is bring joy forth. Because it already exists. You are joy. It's not somewhere else. So all you have to do is get to joy. It really, out of all the things in this world, all the accumulation, all the things that we are trying to get, all the things that we ever wanted, and the only reason we do anything is for a state of being. The reason why we go on vacations is for a state of being. The reason why we want a good career is because of the state of being. We want to feel comfortable. We want to feel safe. We want to go on a vacation to experience joy. But what about getting those states of being first?
It's like thinking in reverse of what we've been taught.
Instead of relying on the structure that is broken and full of fear and doubt to get us there, we have the full power to get ourselves to a state of being right here in this moment. Because it all exists right here, right now. And if you get to state of being first and then go on the vacation, it's a whole different ballpark. If you feel safe first and then you find a job, you're going to be in a completely different job than you ever thought you would be in. You're going to be one of those people that love their job. It just came out of nowhere. I didn't even know this job existed. Get to the vibration, and you allow the vibration to match. You let the world match your vibration. Because we don't even know where that job is. We don't know where it exists. You've never seen it before. You let the vibration find it for you. We don't do that. We do it backwards. If you pay attention to the vibrations of things, then we will become that vibration. We make real what we pay attention to. And then those vibrations, those positive vibrations, also remove all the fear and doubt that we've been storing away in our bodies, because we're paying attention to something a higher frequency. And those lower frequencies can't exist in the higher frequencies. So everything must go. It's like a cleanse, cleaning out the closet. And then all of a sudden you can turn the light on and actually see the whole space filled with light. Your whole body would be full of light. And eventually the light will leave the body and you'll feel outerworldly. Right now the light is in a trapped room and we feel confined. The light feels confined, but if you took the walls down, the light doesn't end. But being in the human body, we make it feel like we have walls to light. We trap everything. And we let the structure, by paying attention to the structure, we get more condensed. Our frequency gets solid because matter is the lowest frequency. The more we pay attention to the structure, the denser we get. But if we pay attention to love and light, we start to expand. And that's when you start to feel expanded in this body. And you know that you aren't the body. You are something much bigger. In reality, the person that we are is nothing like who we actually are. Our personality and all this, it's a false identity. It's ego-based. When we leave our bodies, you're going to be something completely different. In a state of absolute love and joy. But we can get ourselves here now. Start having an ego death. Moving into the heart. The heart's powerful, people. I think a lot of us think we understand that, but I think we're just scratching the surface here. Honestly. And I know I took your question away from the third eye again. And I don't really necessarily want to do that. I want to include it all. I want everything to become balanced and, all the chakras working with the heart in coherence. But I just say let's not get ahead of the heart. There's more than enough there. And the heart will do everything you want. Just get there. Just give it a shot.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what's coming through right now.
And the structure will beat us down, We'll let it beat us down.
Well, how do we get the structure to stop beating us down?
Like what part of the structure?
How do we stop giving our power and our energy to people that are untogether?
Well, that's a good question, because that is something that we always strive to do, right? That is something like we've had all these concepts, we've heard all these concepts, and treat everybody as you. But what about a very untogether person? Right? What about obviously child molesters and all these things? How do we treat them like us? We can protect ourselves with our heart and be in a high vibration and be in a place of safeness. First of all, because we make real what we pay attention to, and we attract certain vibrations. So we're in a dense vibration, then we're going to attract all those really untogether people. We're going to be surrounded by them. So if you're surrounded by untogether people, then there's some kind of a vibrational match to it. So you're going to look at it. But when you also know that these untogether people are all throughout the world, but you have to understand it's all the one. The one is in all, and the all is in one. And I think the best way to explain this is actually talking about 3 lives that I was given the blessing to look at for myself. I got to go back to 3 lives. I got to go back to a lot more. But I think if you just hear about these 3 lives, and at the end of it, you will understand some more, because it showed me something so beautiful. So these 3 particular lives I got to go back to and experience. And I'm going to shorten this so we don't lose everybody, so you can hear the final end of this. But I started off as an observer. I was observing this beautiful island. I was just up in the air, the ether, whatever, just observing. And I looked down on this island. It was a beautiful island. I had like a crystal clear ocean water. There was a waterfalls there. And then I noticed some grass huts. They had the circular tops to it. And I remember thinking, these huts seem too small for people to live in. And so once I thought that, I moved down to these huts. And next thing I know, I was standing on the island. And I was a part of that village. I was a part of the huts. I was one of the occupants of it. I was a villager there. And we did live in these huts. And it was a beautiful village. It was very peaceful. It was a strong community. A lot of love. Everything flowed. It was a beautiful village. It was just, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the feeling of it. I enjoyed to be an occupant there. The scenery was beautiful, that big waterfalls and the ocean. And then I wasn't there long before I went back up into the air, and I was the observer again. Next thing I know, I was observing this big ship coming into a cove of an island. And I was hovering over this ship, and I was looking at this ship, and it looked like an old pirate ship. Had the big sails on it and these big wooden oars up the side. It was huge. And then as I started to observe it, I became an occupant on that ship. So I was standing on the ship. And next thing I know, I was in the galley. And I was feeling very untogether. I was feeling very hungry. I was feeling mad. Like I'd been out at sea way too long, and it was just an awful feeling. I was so untogether. It was just, I was in a state of absolute desperateness. Like I would have done anything to get off this ship. It was not a good state of being. I then moved from the ship as this being to the island. I guess we had landed to this island, and I came on the island, and I was just so happy to be on land. I was just like kissing the ground, it was just amazing. But I was still very untogether. So then I knew I had to go explore this island. We were hungry, we were desperate, it was just not a good situation. So as I explored down the beach, I came across these huts. And they were the same huts that I live in as a villager. But then I realized I was a pirate. And I was here to rape and pillage. I had this awful feeling of rape and pillage. And that's what I was going to do. And I knew I was going to do that. And so I didn't want to see anymore. I knew enough. So at that point I was relieved from that life. And I went back up into the air, and I was hovering again. And I realized what that hovering was. I was an eagle. I was an eagle observing the island, the islanders, the villagers, and I was an eagle observing that pirate ship, and I was an eagle observing that pirate as it walked towards the villagers. But this eagle was such a beautiful being. It had so much compassion for these islanders. It was braver than I can ever imagine anybody being. I didn't know bravery could exist at this level, but this eagle was the bravest thing that I can imagine. It was the epitome of bravery. It was an amazing feeling. And I loved the villagers because the villagers used to worship the eagle as their spiritual animal. And so they worshiped me as the eagle. And I saw this pirate approaching the villagers, and I knew I had to attack that pirate. I knew it. There's nothing else. I was going to fight the pirate. So I went down and I fought the pirate. So in full loop, I was the eagle attacking myself as the villain, the pirate. I was the villain attacking myself as the islander, the villager. And I was the villager that worshipped myself as the eagle. All of it existed at the same time. It showed me that time truly doesn't exist. Everything exists as everything. The all is in one and the one is in all right now. We've been the hero. We've been the villain. We've been the peaceful villager, and we've been the observer. We've chosen to be all these things because we need to experience everything to know who we truly are. And the infinite creator uses our expression so that the infinite creator knows who they truly are. So you never know when you're judging somebody what you're actually judging. We don't know enough to accept that everything is the infinite creator. And we don't need to understand it all. But rest assured, if you're judging something, you're judging the infinite creator. Because it all exists as one. It's not our place to understand it all. It's not our place to understand the universe. It's our place to understand that we need to be compassionate beings and bring compassion into this world and bring love into this world. That way we can lift this whole paradigm. Because the only way to do anything about any of it is to fix ourselves, to get ourselves in a place of compassion and love and learn to look at things in a different way. We don't know enough. We don't know enough how to look at 9/11. There was a villain there. There was a hero there. There was a victim there, and there was an observer, the people watching the TV. You could have been all four of them. You could have been a terrorist. You could have been a fireman. You could have been one of the victims. And you could have been watching yourself all on TV. It's all happening now. It feels like time here, but in actuality, it's all exists as one now.
That's pretty amazing. That's amazing. Thinking about it like that.
It is. There's a lot to digest there.
There's a lot to digest for sure. But it's a beautiful, beautiful story about really the oneness.
It really is. And I was completely blessed to be able to see all that, to give that glimpse of it and feel it as well. There was no doubt. It's life-changing for me to witness that. That's the way we can look at it, truly. And it's said that we have to come here and become everything before we can actually get a human body. So that means you had to be wind. That means you had to be water. You had to be dirt. You had to be a plant, animal. You had to be a rock.
I mean, that's really trippy to think about.
But you had to be everything before you can even get a human body. So think about that when you're harming an animal. And think about that when you're thinking about the pirate story. Maybe you are that animal right now. You don't know enough. But we just think we know everything. The ego thinks it knows. It's got it all worked out. The only way to truly understand ourselves is to get into that heart. It is our connection.
It's amazing. It's really amazing, and it's simple.
It's simple. So unless you got something else.
No, I think we should end it with that. It's beautiful.
Okay. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, everybody, for listening, and thank you for being the good news. If you found value in this podcast, please support my channel by liking and subscribing. Thank you. Namaste.